Hi. Right, you might be able to hear. I've got a problem. Look at this. Like it could be a pain. It works. Look at that. Over in my mum's car. Okay, so today I've got my mum's Land Rover in, all the way from North Wales, here to Essex, to sort out a number of issues. Ordered a few parts whilst I've been waiting for time to sort of jump on this. It needs a couple of bits sorting out, some more major than others. Mainly it's got a running issue, so on initial startup from cold, sweet as a nut, nice low idle, sounds like a TD5 should. When it gets a little bit warmer, suddenly the idle shoots up after a couple of sort of tremors, and then it holds a high idle and starts smelling quite strongly of fumes out the exhaust, but it isn't smoky. So I've had a few people point me in a few different directions. There was one serious issue with this car when she had it, where the fuel pump got quite noisy. Now the fuel pumps on these are quite common. They're a bit of a pain to change. They're in the top of the fuel tank, so you've got to drop the tank, pull the pump out the top and replace it. So we've got a replacement fuel pump. We're going to do that. Another common issue on these TD5s is the, I'll take you over to it. So the fuel injectors are mounted underneath the rocker cover and are essentially just coated in oil because they use the cam to open and close the injectors. And there's a wiring loom that runs along the top of this, which can get contaminated with oil. Oil just seeps in through the connectors, through the loom, and works its way down the whole wiring loom all the way to underneath the driver's seat where the ECU is. So there are two plugs. I think the red plug is the one that's in control of the fueling. That can have oil on it and can cause short circuiting, which can cause rough running. But normally that's straight away, not a case of it runs a bit and then it goes bad. So it could be that. Another one it could be is MAF sensor. So if the MAF sensor's failed, it'll be alright for a little bit until it relies on it and then it'll run like a dog. Map sensor, potentially. I don't think map sensor as much, but potentially. Also a stuck EGR if the EGR is playing up. So we're going to do an EGR delete as well. Yeah, we've got a wiring loom to change, EGR delete to do, fuel pump to do. That will hopefully, one of those will sort the running issue. If they don't, maybe it's a MAF sensor. Might have to replace that. I haven't got one, so that could be a problem. Other stuff to do on it. We'll start with the big one, wheels and tyres. So it had a set of BF Goodrich tyres on there before, but they were quite old. The wheels are like military style Wolf wheels. They were hand painted by myself. They were black when we got them, and I'm not very good. So my painting quality was terrible and the paint was flaking off. I did one of them really well, but I was a bit rushed, my own doing. And yeah, basically they weren't right. So I've got these powder coated locally at Wheelworks in Colchester. They're not sponsored, but shout out to Wheelworks. They did a phenomenal job. They look incredible. So yeah, well impressed with those. They properly look the part. I wasn't sure on the newer style KM3s on this being an older Landy and sort of going for a sort of heritagey look that my mum likes. With the Bahama Gold, that's what colour it is. Looks like baby puke, but it's Bahama Gold. It's a Range Rover colour. It's actually quite cool, I think. But don't tell her I told you that. I think it's quite cool. So along with those, I went to a Land Rover show. Got some nice zinc plated wheel nuts to finish it off. And got this really nice anodised Optimil. Shout out to them because that's stunning. Fuel filler cap to sort of match all the other sort of anodised-y bits that it's got on it. It needs door handles next. So we're going to start this with the code reader. I'm going to plug the code reader in. I'm going to see if we can get anything up on there. I'm not holding out much hope for that, but if it tells us stuff, it tells us stuff. The ECUs are pretty basic on these, and you can get specific code readers for the TD5 Defender, this being a 1998 car. They're a bit, the code reader for modern cars can be a bit funny with these. It just doesn't talk to them as well sometimes, but I'm hoping this decent snap-on one will. I've had it plugged in, and we've got a whole list of fault codes, it would seem. So, right, so we've got, not a clue what that is, driver demand fault, airflow circuit fault, that screams MAF sensor to me. Ambient pressure circuit, is that MAP sensor? I'm not sure. Fuel pump drive, open load, that's not good. That's either because it's failing or because my mum runs it quite low on fuel and parks on a sloped driveway. That probably doesn't help things. ABS open load. Oh, see, some of these scream low battery, and this did have a low battery. Turbo overboost. Not sure on that one with the wastegate, because it's not massively boosty, this car. Okay, what we'll do is we'll delete them, we'll run it, and we'll see what comes back. We'll also go into data, and we'll see if we're getting a decent map reading and MAF reading. Out of interest, I'm going to check the ABS as well. Oh, I told me to turn the key off and on again, I didn't. That's the fuel pump, you can hear it, it is still pretty noisy. Does this have ABS? Ooh, I'm not sure if it does. Oh yeah, no communication. It tells me it's probably not good. I don't know, genuinely I don't know. Judging by the fact the lines go down and underneath, I'm going to say it doesn't have ABS. No. That was a pointless thing, so I wonder if it's getting ABS codes. It hasn't got it. Okay, back to engine. Just to see if any codes come straight back. Everything. Good. Maybe this doesn't. The key must be on engine off. It is. Clear codes completed. Continue. Okay. Yeah, so that doesn't work. Anyway. See, that idle isn't right, and see, it's quite rough. TD5s are normally a really smooth engine. So let's see what data we've got. Okay, so we've got an issue with the coolant temp sensor. Funnily enough, I do have one of those. I wouldn't say the map sensor is working. Airflow, I'm getting 0. So that could well be map sensor. Oh, driver demand is pedal. Getting nothing with airflow. I think there should be something with airflow. Okay, so I'm actually starting to think it's the MAF sensor. I'm going to fit all the bits that I've ordered, obviously, and do everything else that needs doing on this. I've got a rear light to fit. I've got door locks to adjust and sort out and stuff like that. So we'll crack on with the jobs to do on it. I'm going to actually start at the coolant temp sensor, see if we can get that swapped out, and then we will do a bit of a mixture. We're going to do a service, so change air filter, oil filter, all the usual stuff, fuel filters, and at the same time get this rocker cover off, change that wiring loom over. Then once that's all done, we will jump to the back, we'll get the fuel tank dropped. It's got like half a tank of fuel in, which will be fun. And yeah, we'll get the fuel pump swapped around. And then if that doesn't sort it, get a MAF sensor. It's not something I think I can get from a normal parts place anymore. They're just too old, they don't do them. So it's probably going to be a specialist. Okay, so the temp sensor's located just here. Now a quick test just to see if it does anything. Obviously it was reading like minus 22 before, so I plugged in the new one. I don't really want to drop that seal. And I guess we'll just see what it says now. Watch it say minus 100. No communication. Where's the key? Hey, look! That's probably around what it is in the engine bay / in this room. Yeah, 30 degrees. It was better than it was. It's not minus a million. And the temp gauge is now working. So that was one of the complaints, is that the temp gauge wasn't working. She did actually write me a list, look. Look at that. Terrible engine noise. Can't lock the driver's door. Yeah. Can't unlock the passenger door from the outside. I think that's the latch metal bar thing that's come off. Handbrake light comes on 80% of the time. I'm going to do a bod with a spring. Rear reverse light, bling light. So I've got a chrome light to replace that one, which looks a bit utilitarian. LOF clutch spring, so that's a green clutch spring, which should make the clutch feel a lot lighter to press, make it a bit easier to drive. I've also got a thermostat because I wasn't sure if that was the issue. Loose plastic housing around. Excuse me, it's a new one. Well, completely new. I didn't know that was a thing. Oh, down the bottom. It needs a screw underneath there, which it currently hasn't got. That's fine. Weird groan. Okay, I personally haven't experienced that, so not sure. Lights and dials on dash not all working. Temp gauge has never ever worked. Well, it does now. What other lights don't work? Oh, the temp gauge backlight doesn't work either, and I don't think I've got one of those bulbs, so that's fine. Well, now it's working. I'd also like to have a bulb for it. I'll have to see if I can get one from Halfords or your car park. Cool, okay. We're getting there with it. We've fixed the thing. I have fixed something. I am a mechanicking god. And now I need to replace it. Easy. Hi. Cool, so to replace the coolant temp sensor, which is just there, 19mm spanner. Crack it off. I like Land Rovers because all you need to fix a Land Rover is a very basic toolkit and a bit of willpower. One of those I have. And it's a very good toolkit. So I'll unscrew this. We'll let the coolant dribble all over the... Oh my god! That's a waterfall is what it is. Didn't expect it to spurt out. I should have undone the cap. I've had it running for quite a while, so there's quite a bit of pressure. And then simply screw in the new one. Watch the angle of this new one be the wrong angle for the connector. That would be frustrating. And when I tighten this connector, it's looking as though the angle is actually going to be wrong. For God's sake, bloody Land Rovers. Yeah, that's basically tight. It's like 180 degrees out from where it should be. Nice. Don't go too tight and I'll snap the bloody thing. It's fine. I'll spin the connector around 180 degrees. And we'll plug it back in again. That is job number one. Let's start the service. So, there are two oil filters. There's like a pre-filter and another filter. I don't understand it. So you've got... That's your pre-filter. No, that's your post-filter. Then the pre-filter is just a normal spin-on filter, which is down underneath the turbo, and it's a bit of a pig to get to. Then we've got fuel filters. There's one in the engine bay, and there's one underneath, like a sedimenter filter that has a water sensor thing on it. Then we've got the air filter and the airbox at the back. That should be pretty clean, but yeah, of course we're going to change that. It doesn't sit under trees or anything. The air intake is there on the side where the door is, so it's not like leaves and stuff. We're going to sort of sit on it and then get drawn in. But yeah, they can get pretty minging. It's quite dusty in Wales at this time of year as well, so that can do it. We're going to top the coolant up because we spilt some and it was a bit low anyway. And then yeah, once I've drained the oil, I think I'm just going to get this off, change that wire and loom. What we should do actually is check that plug, shouldn't we? That's something we should do. Right, so we've got the connector off, and I'll be honest, I can't really tell because two of these pins, this one and this one, they do look a little bit wet. But the images I'm seeing online are like oil pouring out of the ECU, and this just isn't that. It's the ECU connector is bone dry. It does look like it may have happened in the past, but from what I can tell, I think it might be alright. So we'll plug that back in, and we'll still change that loom. Now the loom I bought is a sealed one from Molting's 4x4, which is, that's that one. And they say you don't need to change it again. Once you've done this once, you shouldn't have to change it again because this is a sealed unit. And realistically, with the amount of miles that my mum puts on this, yeah, I'm pretty happy to probably never do this again. So let's crack on. So this is the kit that I've ordered. Now this connector, the end of it is like sealed up. So that should hopefully not leak oil through, because the issue you get is oil leaks down and through these pins and then through the main loom into the car. And because it's a kit, it means it comes with these gaskets and seals and so on, which is good. Because it has got a bit of a weep around here. And I mean, I have replaced this before, but we're talking like a few years ago, and it wasn't with a particularly great quality one, which I can already feel has gone a bit hard. Whilst we're at it, let's disconnect the connector. This is the actual, I mean, it looks dry, but the oil seeps into the actual electrical cables themselves and runs along, so I'll squeeze the two sides. Oh, hello. Yeah, that is pretty oily to me. I'm no expert. But there's definitely oil on a couple of those pins. Okay, so it is a good job that we're doing this. Put my finger inside it, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely a good job that we're doing this. Cool, that makes me feel better about doing it. You might be able to hear behind me, I've got a problem. It's a good problem, but it is a problem. It is now running absolutely sweet as a nut. 60 degrees on the coolant temp. I've had it running for quite a while now. It's come up from like 30. And yeah, it's been idling, as you can hear, perfectly. The only thing I've replaced up to now, I was about to start doing the service in the wiring loom, which I'm still going to do because there's oil in that plug, is the coolant temp sensor. Now, as far as I'm aware, that temp gauge hasn't ever worked since we've had this Land Rover. But the gauge could have been failing, meaning that it was reading maybe 5, 6 degrees, maybe 10 degrees, which is enough for this to run in ambient temperature in the UK semi-okay. Now I think, because it was reading like minus 22 or minus 33, whatever it was, that just wasn't good enough, especially in these warmer weathers that we're having at the moment. And that's when it went into meltdown mode, when the other sensors were getting obviously odd readings compared to what the coolant temp was saying. And yeah, I think that the coolant temp sensor was the issue all along. Now the fuel pump was noisy for a while, so I'm still going to replace that. The wiring loom has the oil in it, so I'm still going to replace that. I'm not getting a math reading, but after speaking to a couple of mates, I think it might be just because that code reader just doesn't recognise the math sensor. What you can do is go for a drive with it connected, disconnect it. If it gets performance back, then disconnecting it takes it out of the safe mode that it's in because of the incorrect values. So apparently if it's got a math sensor that's failing, then the ECU will go into like a safe mode and will just dial back everything, so you'll have flat spots and uneven running and so on, and it just won't run right and there'll be no power. This I think feels power alright, revs alright and stuff, but I will disconnect the math. If it pulls better, then 100% I'm going to replace the math. If it's about the same, then there's no point replacing it if it ain't broken, so I won't. But apparently a failed math on these, it won't put the engine warning light on, so And with the amount of battery related codes and stuff on it as well, there is a math code obviously, but I don't know. I really don't know. So without a decent TD5 specific code reader that will give a math reading, that's the best I can do. So yeah, I've fixed it with the cheapest part, but we've got all the other bits, well, let's just fit them. Okay, so some progress being made. Engine oil is currently draining. This is the service kit I got for it, and all makes one with decent quality filters. It was like one of their premium filter kits, so air filter, secondary oil filter, main oil filter, and fuel filter. So yeah, it's currently draining. The oil doesn't look too bad, to be fair. It was done last year, and she's not done a huge amount of miles. She normally puts like maximum 3,000 miles a year on this thing, so it doesn't get huge mileage, which is good. Obviously, I had it running for a while to get the oil nice and thin, so when it comes out, it's not too bad. It went all over my hand, so that was fun. Got a nice new sealing washer, which I'll go and fit in a second. And yeah. Once the oil's drained and I put that back in, I'm going to do the rocker cover. I might just actually, yeah, I'm just going to do a rocker cover now. Why not? Cool, so to take the rocker cover off, cam cover off, what you want to call it, ring of 8mm bolts, simple. Obviously I'm going to pull all these washers out with the seals because I'm going to replace those. And the rocker cover gasket. So to take it off, first you take the crankcase breather hose off. Right. So where's all these out? Tonight. Okay. So what we've got, this is the wiring loom that I was talking about that goes into each of the 5 injectors. Straightforward enough to do. This pulls out, they all unplug, everybody's happy. So that's the case. Yep, simple as that. I do want to say that's been replaced before, not with the uprated one, but so yeah, you can see the oil, you might be able to see the oil inside that connector. There shouldn't be. So let's replace it with our nice new special sealed one. Cool, so I've cleaned up the mating surfaces where that seal's going to go. I've blown out all of the connectors with some brake cleaner so that they are going to work and seal correctly and fresh. So let's get the new set on there, shall we? Happy days. Right, rocker cover gasket, replace all those little seals, get it put back on. I think we're looking good. Okay, so rocker cover's back on. New seal fitted, all the little sort of pushy sealing washers are in, and I've torqued up all the bolts to what it said online. So that's good to go. I've also filled up the engine oil and put the sump plug back in. So now I'm going to change the oil filter, which I fitted. So if it's over tight, then the only person I can blame is myself. So let's unscrew it and see how over tight it is. Oh, Oh, proper help myself out here. That's not over tight at all. Oh, I am good to myself. There's no way to get this filter out without making a mess. You have to tilt it at a stupid angle in order to get it out. Sadly, hence why I've got spill soap pad good to go. That's it. One all makes filter. So we'll get the new one. Okay, so I've kind of pre-filled the filter a little bit. Put some oil around the sealing ring. Now I get to enjoy the process of fitting that into the hole without making a great big mess, which I've not really achieved. There we go. Spin it on. And again, we'll hand tighten it, but not ridiculously so. Because it doesn't need to be mental tight. And that's more than enough. Cool, so next is the other filter, which is some 10 mils. So you pull this cap off, and then down there is the other filter. So we've got a placement one here. That literally just shoves back down into the hole. Nothing special. And then we've got a nice new sealing ring, which we'll replace this one with. Sealing ring is on. I've oiled it a little bit just to help it go in the hole. And then we shove it back on again. That's plenty. Give my hands a wipe because what's some here. Might as well. I've broken that, I think. Have I? Maybe not. What's some here? Might as well do the air filter. It's not awful, not great. Bit of a dirty patch on it, but yeah, not too bad at all. Without dropping it. Right, so one last little engine. I didn't want to put them there anyway. One last little engine oil top up, and we'll fire it up, see how it's sounding. Still got the fuel filter to do, but I can do that whenever. So yeah, we'll finish that off and then get into some of the other jobs. Cool, so I'm giving it one last top up of engine oil, just sort of cleared stuff out of the way. 8 litres it's taken. 7 litres it's taken. So, right, let's see if it fires up and see if it works. Now that we've changed the injector loom and given it a service. Off quick. Yeah, happy with that. Temp gauges, because before it used to like sit below the cold, and that's where it would stay forever. Now it's obviously in the cold. Earlier it was just above the white mark at around 60-62 degrees, so I think at operating temperature, which is supposed to be like what, 80-90 degrees, which by the way a TD5 very rarely reaches unless it's like mega hot. These engines are well known for running quite cool, which is a good thing. They're overcooled, these engines. Cool, I think we might fix something. Right, I'll switch off and we'll check the engine oil level. So let it settle a little bit. Just on the low, so I could do with topping it up a little bit more. A little dribble of this in. Probably other bit of 530, which I'll get. Happy days, so it's running a lot sweeter now. It's had a full service. This is the fuel filter, which I'll do shortly. Next, we're going to have a go at the LOF clutch spring, which should make the clutch pedal feel a bit lighter, which, yeah, I think my mum will benefit from. Yeah, that's nearly all the engine bay stuff done. I've topped up the coolant and checked all the other fluids, power steering, brake fluid, it's all fine. Just needs to do the EGR delete, which we'll get round to. So, clutch spring next, then we'll do the rear light. I have got one thing actually, if I'm going to that vicinity. Got a screw. And thankfully I've managed to find one, which is handy. So we'll get that screwed in. Looking like it could be a pain. Oh. So at the moment, from what I can see at least, I don't know if I've removed it in the past or something. I don't remember removing it. But yeah, it sort of doesn't have one. The first thing to do is to pop into the engine bay, and there's like a stop screw on the clutch box, which you wind all the way out. That means the pedal can push all the way to the floor a bit further. And we're going to shove it so that this bit clicks in to that bit that we shoved into the pedal earlier. So it sits like that. Yeah, because it needs to come down quite a bit. Okay, so up to now, I've put the two plastic clips in either side where the spring mounts, here and here, and there's a third one that sits just on the clutch lever on the pedal itself. Now what you need to do to get it to fit is, it's sort of swinging now, and that cutout there needs to have where my finger is slotting into it, so you need to sort of compress the spring in order to get it to go in there, which is fun. So yeah, let's give that a go. Nice, so as you can see down in the gap, clutch spring is fitted, and it's definitely lighter, like definitely lighter. And yeah, I've also gone ahead and removed, yeah, I've also gone ahead and removed the original return spring. I think this is the reason why it didn't have one initially, and why I said, oh, I think I've removed it. I haven't, it's just that it's got this set up instead. Okay, so where are we up to? Well, I've replaced the fuel filter. I've made everything worse because this is rusted and broken off. The little sort of clip that holds this guard on, so that needs a part. I fixed the handbrake, light staying on constantly. So I've modified a handbrake spring. I'll get a handbrake shoe spring, and that now pulls the handbrake down as it should. I have adjusted the handbrake, and it's not due to the fact that the handbrake's out of adjustment. I think this cable's probably slightly stretched, but yeah, it now, see the light comes on the dash? I can't even get that light to come on, even with the slightest bit of pressure up. So that is now sorted. This is my mum's list. I've sorted the engine. We have yet to do the driver's door. We have yet to do the passenger door. The handbrake is now sorted. Rear reverse bling light I'm about to do. I've already crossed it out because I was going to do it. Clutch spring done. Loose plastic housing done. Weird Groma turning the steering wheel. I've topped up the fluid. It isn't doing it whilst I've got it. I'll wait for news on that one. Lights on the dash, all sorted. I've replaced the bulb on the temp gauge, and the temp gauge is now working. So it looks like, once I've fitted that blingy light on the back, it's just the doors. Looking good. I think other than fitting the light at the back, which I'm going to do next, with this really nice old school one, which I'm hoping will just go straight into the hole. Okay, so I've got the rear light fitted. Looking really, really smart. Nice Lucas rear light, and bonus, when we flick the switch, it works. There's a bolt underneath that holds it on, and then there's two wires which I just snipped and put a couple of butt connectors and taped it up. So what's next is engine cover, and then we'll shut the bonnet. Cool, so that's the engine cover on, engine's running sweet. Let's get the bonnet closed. So replace this little bonnet clip the holder because that had snapped. That's good. Make sure that's actually fully latched. Okay, so this is it. I'm on my way home in my mum's Land Rover, and yeah, it's driving sweet. Typically noisy and rattly and windy, like every Land Rover should be, but I'm sat at what, 65, 70, no dramas at all. So yeah, here's to the rest of the drive, straight in for the MOT, and yeah, hand it over. I'm then going to jump in the Freelander one, the silver one, which you'll have seen a picture of. You won't have seen anything else on that. And I'll be driving that back to Essex, parking that up, because obviously I'm going away for 6 months, like I've said a few times before. And then when I get back, I'll jump on that, get that sorted, and then decide what to do. Keep it or sell it. I suppose this is it for this video, really. The fuel pump is done, by the way. EGR delete is sorted. I didn't get around to doing the doors, which is a bit depressing, but I just didn't have the time with all the other jobs that I've had on and the other stuff that I wanted to do on this. I just didn't get around to stripping the doors. So my excuse for that is I'm replacing the door handles with some nice billet aluminium ones. So I'll have to strip the doors to fit those anyway. That's my excuse. Well, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for sticking with it. Apologies for the videos not being out as often as I'd like them to be, and I'm sure some of you would like them to be. But yeah, if you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.